The Sahel region do not cease to amaze us. We have another good news coming out from Niger. Niger is about to export its first oil export from the pipeline in Benin. Hello, I am Mahlet Ayele, your host at Connect Africa, bringing you the latest from the continent and particularly on daily basis, updating you what's happening in the Sahel region from these revolutionary states, namely Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Now, stay tuned and we will go into it in detail. So now what happened is actually now Niger is about to start exporting crude oil, for the first time from a pipeline that's found in Benin, because it has been using for a long time its natural resources only for the natural consumption, and it has been also, it was not actually refining any oil locally. So now what's going to happen is they are going to refine, and in addition to using it for local consumption, also to use it for export and bring that income. These people, this Niger is about getting its own economic independence, security wise. It's on the right path of achieving its full independence by completely cutting its tie from its former colonizer France and others Western financial institutions, even from the sanctions that has been imposed by its neighbors, by its region economic organization, which is ECOWAS. So Niger expects to export its first barrels of crude oil through a new pipeline connecting the country's Agadem oil field, which is found in Niger, to the Benin port of Cotonou. Now, the project is backed by the PetroChina, owned by China, and it's officially launched. Actually, it was officially launched on November 1st of this year now, and it's expected to start commercially to export or operation in January. Now, this project has, there are some, back in November, this was what is stated in terms of its cost. Some $6 billion has been invested in the project, and according to the Niger government, including $4 billion to develop the oil field, because Niger has only a small oil field, and $2.3 billion for the construction of the pipeline. This is what is happening now. Let's go, as I always usually do. This is General Abdurrahman Tihiani, who do not cease to amaze us, doing miracles from on daily basis, basically, driving Niger on the right path to get its independence. This is a PetroChina backed pipeline that leads to Benin port, from Agadem oil field of Niger to Benin. Now, what is happening is that Niger expects to export its first barrels of crude oil through a new Niger-Benin pipeline in January, as I told you. And the country's military leader, Abdurrahman Tihiani, said on state television, this is what he said. So the PetroChina-backed export pipeline, as I said, is officially launched on November 1st, linking again the Agadem oil field of Niger to Benin's Cotonou port. Now, what does Niger get out of it? What is the expectation? So Niger will get a 25.4% of the 90,000 barrels of a day that will be exported through this pipeline. This is what the leader, General Abdurrahman Tihiani, said. Now, the storage tanks right now in Cotonou are currently being filled and ready in January to do the first export or the first commercialization phase of this project. Now, he said also furthermore, meaning General Abdurrahman Tihiani, now he said currently Niger has a small oil refinery with a capacity of 20,000 barrels per day. Now the new one is going to do 90,000 barrels per day. So this is like 4 5 times of the what currently the capacity of Niger. So that's huge, which mainly supplies the domestic fuel market. However, Tihiani said that he stated that the country's goal is to refine more oil locally and reduce its dependence on imported fuel. Very good. This is what economic freedom means. This is what all African states have to follow. Now, he also emphasized the importance of utilizing Niger's natural resources for the benefit of its own people. Exactly. Without benefiting your own people, without serving the interest of your nation, you cannot just go and benefit your colonizer or any other. First, you have to serve the interest of your people. And then he also said, our desire is not to simply market crude oil. We want to move towards a refinery that will process Nigerian crude oil on Nigerian soil. What more do you need? This is a leader. So he also mentioned that Niger has not fully benefited from its natural resources, but guess what? It's exactly now starting the first steps of that, using its own natural resources. Now, just to say a little about this PetroChina, I was the owner of this company. Now, the China Petroleum Engineering Construction Company Limited, known as PetroChina, and West Africa Crude Oil Pipeline in Benin signed the design, procurement, construction, and trial of the Benin section of the Niger-Benin crude oil pipeline project. Now, this happened in 2021. So the operation and production service contract value is about 2.4 billion yuan, which is a Chinese currency, and the contract period is 42 months, including a 12-month warranty period. I think they have finished the project under the said time. Now, you may wonder that Benin is actually one of the countries in West, a member of ECOWAS, the Economic Community for Western African States, who is part of those countries who wanted to militarily intervene in Niger. And it's one of those countries also who promised to contribute forces or armies if the ECOWAS intervenes militarily in Niger. But, now this ECOWAS imposing of sanction has become really weak, as unilaterally members of ECOWAS are signing trade deal with Niger and others like Burkina Faso and Mali. So they are going forward. And also, previously, I have brought you another good news that saying that the Niger government has refused to free the ousted president, in which ECOWAS proposed if Niger, ECOWAS proposed we are going to lift the sanction if you free the ousted president. And Niger said, you know what? No, when this man is actually accused of treason in the country, undermining the security of the national security of Niger. So they are not going to free him by any exchange. They are not going to be intimidated by it. But they say, okay, if you are going with that, then we are not going to lift the sanction and we will go ahead and it will continue. Now, Benin is part of that, who continued that sanction. But guess what? Now, unilaterally, Benin is coming and saying, oh, okay, we are also doing a trade. And they're saying, Benin says Niger's oil pipeline not impacted by regional sanctions over coup. I want to share this with you, what the news says from Niger. Okay, I'm going to read it for you. So, this is what it says. Okay, now Benin says Niger oil pipeline not impacted by regional sanctions over coup. So authorities in Benin said on Thursday that sanctions imposed on neighboring Niger by West Africa Regional Bloc over last week's military coup have not affected work on a major oil pipeline linking both countries, but could mean might be a delay. Now, the heads of states of the 15 member of ECOWAS, the Economic Community of Western African States, imposed severe sanctions on Niger, including borders closure and suspension of financial and commercial ties with the country. Also, the central bank of this ECOWAS, the Western African states, has cancelled a planned 30 billion CFF franc, which is a currency that these Western African states use, which is created by France, again to the benefit of France, and most of the money goes to in the reserve bank of France, making France rich. Okay, so this is what Benin said. Now, it's not only Benin, okay, it's also other countries who are saying, we unilaterally we are going to continue to do business with Niger. Also, the Ghana port and harbor has welcomed these countries because these Sahel regions, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali, are landlocked, so they don't have a port. They are using neighboring ports, but because of the sanctions that has been banned, so they were doing only transport between those countries like the Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. Now, Ghana has opened its port for these countries to use it because they also need the business. It's not just giving in to help or as a charity, because they are going to benefit from the business as well. So these countries are going to use the port of Ghana as well. So it's not only Benin, other countries who are part of the ECOWAS who imposed that sanction are unilaterally starting to to have business as usual with with Niger. Now, just to give you historical background again a bit, if we do not remember, Niger back in October this year, Niger has banned all exports of liquefied petroleum gas, until further notice. The government said. Now, we have reported this at that time at Connect Africa. So this is what he said: the national production should be used to supply the domestic market, and in case of surplus, a special authorization can be requested to export. Also, Niger normally exports its surplus petroleum gas to neighboring Nigeria, and that has been halted or stopped in October because they say we have to make it sufficient to our own people first. Remember, Nigeria not only is part of, who is the chairperson of ECOWAS and organizing and mobilizing this sanction against Niger, they have also unilaterally has, shut down and stopped the export of electricity to Niger. So Niger has done this now in October, banning the liquefied petroleum gas export to Nigeria. So every action has a reaction. That's what happened. Now, another Sahel states, actually, just to give you another information, who is constructing oil refinery is Burkina Faso. Actually, beginning of this month, Burkina Faso and Iran have signed a deal to construct oil refinery in Burkina Faso. Now, my question to you is, what do you think of Niger's action, to export oil from Benin's pipeline? Do you think it should not have been from Benin's pipeline? Was there any other option? Just let us know your thoughts on this. Go ahead and share it in the comment section, and we will take it for a further discussion. For me, that's it, as far as concerning this good news from Niger, Niger aiming to export its crude oil from Niger, from the pipeline that's found in Benin. But there is a pipeline also that has been constructed before connecting the Agadem oil fields to the Benin's Port Cotonou. So please go ahead and share your thoughts on this one. Thank you very much again for tuning in. If you like what we bring you here, please give it thumbs up, and then also let's empower each other with knowledge and information. If you want to help us further, you can go ahead in the description section, and also I will pin it in the comment section to our PayPal account, and donate whatever you can. That will mean a lot, but sharing the video will also help our YouTube algorithm. Thank you very much, and I will see you on the next one. Stay tuned in.